Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing 4 loose watercolor interpretations of this stunning sunset that I saw on my recent trip to Lake Como. Hi everyone, I'm Omar. I'm a sketchbook artist and illustrator. Each of these sunsets has its own vibe, and I'll be sharing tips on blending, creating soft washes and letting the watercolor do its magic. So grab your brushes, get inspired, and let's dive in. This is the sketchbook that I took to Italy and Portugal this summer. It's a Hahnemuhle watercolour sketchbook. I'm just going to quickly show you a quick sneak peek. I haven't finished it yet, and I will do a separate sketchbook tour. So these sunsets were painted after I got back from Portugal using photographs I took, and the same principles that I talked about in my sunsets class, which I will link, applies here. And I was able to also do a version of that class in Lake Como on the first day that we arrived in Italy for my Blue Walk workshop. And I just did a really fast example because we were literally trying to chase the sun. So I just gave them very, very quick examples. But I'm going to show you another version taken from sunset on my last day in Italy. So I just finished giving my last workshop lesson with Blue Walk in Lake Como, and I went back to my room and I was just lazing around on my bed, and I saw through the patio windows this beautiful sunset was developing. So I dashed out to the patio and I took some video and also some still photos. Gorgeous, gorgeous colours. Look at all that happening. And I thought it was great to try and capture some of this in one of the pages of my sketchbook properly. And so I'm going to be using these as inspiration, but I might change around some of the landscapes. But let's see what happens. One of the first things you'll probably notice is I had pre-prepared my background. This was done months ago, and I even stuck a empty sugar packet in there. I'm not going to try and disguise them. I'm actually going to try and incorporate them so that I remember this sketchbook from the time I went to Italy. Another thing I want to talk to you about is the type of brush that I use for sunsets. This is a Pro Art quill brush, and this just helps me to load up the brush to get a juicy brush, and I'll show you that in a little bit. And also the watercolor pigments that I use, they're quite limited, and they are lemon yellow, opera rose, violet, and also Payne's grey, and I can achieve quite a lot of different textures and contrast with this just by varying the water content. And I thought it would be good to just play around with 4 different scenes of the same sunset, because they are always changing, and I talk a lot more about this in my class, so do check that out if you want to know more. So I usually start off with a lemon, and I know that in the reference photo that it's more of an orange, but I'm just going to place it here. And while it's very, very, I'll show you what I did with the brush. This is called a juicy brush. You can see that it's completely loaded and glistening. And I'm going to add in this palette here, just mix it up into a bit more of an orange, and I'm going to I think add that here, and I'm going to continue it down here, even though this is probably going to be part of the landscape that's going to be in silhouette. I think it adds to the drama, or it can give me options later on. And I've just picked up a bit more of that pink, and I'm going to apply it here. There's quite a bit more pigment on there than I have been using with the orange or the yellow, and you have to be careful about colour mixing with sunsets, because you don't want them to mix too much. I'm going to add a stripe of purple just here, but I don't want it to add I don't want it to mix too much with the yellow layer, because then we can get muddying of the colours. And I'm going to go back and I think add a softer pink just above it. Ah, that looks nice. That's going to look really, really nice. So this is just an impression of the sunset that I saw. I might just go back and add a stripe. And I always say, well, you know, I'm the only one, well, other people didn't witness it, but I am allowed to interpret it how I want because this is my sketchbook. I am going to keep an eye on this one. I think actually, well, I'm actually thinking about it. I'm just going to add another sort of strip of pink because this is the pigments have soaked into the paper, so they're going to behave slightly differently, and you have to judge when to add extra pigment because if you add it too quickly it does spread too much, but you don't want to add it when they are drying because then they won't spread. So this is me just playing. The great thing about sunsets is they shift from second to second. Literally, you won't get the same sunset ever again. And oh, that looks beautiful. I've got some of that pink still left on my brush, so I'm just going to go ahead and I think I'm going to, it sweeps sort of like that. So I'm just going to do that and add some yellow here. Quite a bit more pigment this time, I think. Need to make oh gosh, a bit too much on that. And it goes up like that, and I can see bits of blue, but I'm not going to be adding blue. People get too worked up by trying to produce the exact sunset that they saw, and they're going to set themselves up for upset because in watercolors you have to be mindful about the warm and cool pigments, and adding blue to the yellow will produce green in watercolor. And look, it's happening that just there. I didn't mean for that to happen, it's just done it. So that's one of the things you have to be mindful of, and also not to overwork this piece. I am cleaning my brush quite often with clean water. If you faff too much, that is when you are going to start getting muddy colours, and we don't want that with sunsets at all. So you have to be very mindful about where you place strokes. I think I'm going to try and add a greater band of yellow just here. Just want to differentiate it from this one. I know it's the same sunset, maybe down there as well. And I want to add a sweep of, I don't know, pink maybe, or violet. That is looking a little bit similar to the other one. How can I make it a tiny bit different? I know, I'm going to add some, if you add clean water, now will also, you won't be able to see it until it completely dries, and it will get the pigments to just move around in weird ways, and you won't know until it dries exactly how it's going to turn out. But I'm going to do this one now, and let me just look at a different view where the purple is, a lot of it is on this side. Maybe I'll do a purple heavy sunset here. So I'm just going straight over that label. It doesn't really matter to me since it was already there. And add the pink. And I think now, because I've got this band of pink, I can add yellow to this area here without it getting too affected. Because if you add pink and purple, that's not going to look the best. Like there, I was just trying to merge those colours together. It hasn't quite worked. Let's just add a bit more pink as a band here. And I think because I've got that, I can add It's not very watery, so I don't think the pigments are gonna mix too much. I think that could be all right. All right, I'm gonna stop now. I'm gonna stop. Look, I've just had a glance up here. That's going to look very, very beautiful. And so one more. I'm just going to vary it. I do like that purple. Maybe I'm going to do more like a band like that. Add my pink. And you've got this opera rose coming through that it must have been acrylic gouache. I'm going to have to add a little bit more, I think, down here because I wanted to... Oh, I'm running out of opera rose. I'm going to have to go and grab the tube. Okay. I think I want to add a band. Now that I've got quite a lot of pigment on my brush and it's not spreading so much, because it's so thick, and by the time I come back with the tube, this wash has already soaked into my paper. But that's okay, we can still work with that. Isn't that just a beautiful, shocking pink across that sky? So beautiful. And I'm just going to add a band of yellow just under here, create a tiny bit of... Okay, and I still have quite a lot of this opera rose on my brush, so I'm just going to add it maybe here. All right, stop it. I have to tell myself to stop faffing myself. So now we have to wait for this watercolour to fully dry. There are pools of watercolour and they are going to create some beautiful magic once they are fully dry. There's gorgeous things happening there. And we have to show a lot of patience before adding the rest of the landscape. Wanted to let you know I do have a 3-hour class about painting sunsets. It's about addressing common challenges so that you can paint vibrant, expressive sunsets with confidence in 6 intentional timed strokes. I have actually filled 3 entire sketchbooks with sunsets, and in this class I look at mastering the water to pigment ratio and looking at warm and cool pigments to really make those hues pop. I've popped a link to this class in the description below, so please check it out. Because I've only got a few pictures of this particular sunset on Como, I'm going to have to refer back to some other photos that I took to get some of the contours of the hills in. You know, there's all different landscapes happening within, and this is beautiful, really, really beautiful. I don't know if I can incorporate that tiny little hut there, but I'll see. Oh. Okay, so let's give it a go. This is going to be another case where I use my reference photo as inspiration rather than copying it completely as is, because it's just going to cause too much upset. So I'm going to use this photo, and it's basically like this hump. I'm just mixed up Payne's grey, and it could probably be a little bit thicker actually. And I'm going to try hard to leave this area free for this tiny little hut. I just adore it. Something like that. And I can fill the rest in a dark Payne's grey. And then I could add this other hump, which goes steeper, a bit steeper. Take up some darker Payne's grey and add these suggestions of trees. And I really adore watching this develop. There's probably some cypress trees on that hill. And it's an uneven hill. There's more bushes and trees and whatnot. So I'm just adding that. I'm being it's just very suggestive rather than anything accurate. And the human eye will just make up the rest. You have to trust The viewer is going to understand what you've painted, and I think you know, this is pretty good. Actually, I think I need to make the trees a bit more clumpy here. They're kind of spaced out fairly evenly, which I don't really want. Okay, I think that one will do. And let's see what I can do with this one here, using a different image where we've just got this kind of slope with a mountain in the background. And again, I think because I've got some of this paper free, I'm going to try and leave right, hold on, because it's just on the edge of a lake, and oh, you know, if I'd continued that yellow down, it would have just been like a reflection. But there's kind of something that I could do. I'm just going to sort out the edge of the lake first, and then I'm going to try something out. Let's say the house was about here. It rises up, then comes back down. Well, that looks quite nice already, don't you think? And it's a bit more uneven than that. I'm just going to add some of that texture. That looks jolly good, actually. I'm just going to water down that paint and pretend that there was sort of mountains rising in the back, right at the back, and it's just to tell you that this strip of land was in front of this one here. I might have to darken it up, and it lets your viewers know what land mass was in front of the other. And something I want to try, but I have to make sure that my brush is very, very clean, because I've just had that Payne's grey on there. I'm just very, very lightly add a strip of orange, and then I think just here where it's very pink above it, I'm going to add that. And if I had filled out that entire square with colour, it could have just been a ready-made reflection, but I'm having to add this now. But if you try this, be mindful not to let it touch the Payne's grey area. And I think that I might just have to leave it. Okay, I think that's great. So let's do the other two down here. If you're enjoying this class so far, please remember to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments if you paint sunsets and if you have challenges with them. These panels are still drying, but I think you can get a fair idea of how they might turn out. This last one, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see how that turns out, and when I take away the washi tape. And you can see just here, I think I did touch the pink with that Payne's grey, and they kind of blended together, but that could just be, you know, a suggestive reflection. So let's give these a good dry, and then we'll take off that tape. So here we have 4 impressions of my last sunset on Lake Como. I think these have turned out wonderfully. I am very taken by this last one I did here. It's very moody, and it's getting towards the end of the sunset when the colours are deepening, and it really sort of highlights the buildings on the left-hand side. And even this little, you know, mishap where the pigments have mixed, I think that adds a lovely ethereal quality to that particular panel there. And I just love what the watercolour pigments can do, and I'm very grateful that I have learnt and have been patient to find out how my particular pigments work. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because it's really going to help me to grow. Coming up is a tiny trailer from my Simple Sunsets class. Please check it out. The link is in the description below. I'm really excited to share my top tips for creating expressive, vibrant sunsets with ease. We're going to dive into the essentials with 4 warm-up exercises, including juicy brushes, mastering the water to pigment ratio, and looking at warm and cool pigments to really make those hues pop. And there is going to be interpreting and simplifying reference images. I have prepared 4 full-length demo videos, starting with the basics and moving to more advanced techniques, so whether you're a beginner or an experienced watercolorist, there's something for everyone. It's all about being in the moment, painting with intention, and letting the colours dance on the paper. By the end of this class, you'll be able to embrace spontaneity in your painting process, letting go of that hesitation, and create dynamic compositions that really capture the essence and beauty of a sunset. Let's get started on creating those breathtaking sunsets right now.